Hi everybody, my name is Caleb Withy. I am doing a persuasive speech for my Communications 101 class. The topic on my speech is why we should receive our pets from a shelter instead of a breeder. First off, I want to thank the audience for taking the time out of their day to come and participate in this speech. And I hope that by the end of the speech you have learned something and that I have maybe changed your mind on this topic. How many of you have a pet? Now, out of those of you that have pets, how many of you have ever gotten a pet from a shelter? I, for one, have had 3 dogs in my lifetime, and never once have I received one of the dogs from a shelter. It has always been breeders. I have, though, gotten 2 cats from a shelter. One was a cat we got on Free Cat Day, and the other was a cat that our vet had up for adoption that was in desperate need of a good home. Most people, when they think about shelter animals, think of dirty, mangy, aggressive animals who most likely have had a broken past and probably would not be a very good fit for their family. It would just be better to go to a pet store and to buy a puppy or kitten. That way you can raise it and train it, and hopefully it has the personality and temperament that will best fit your family. The ASPCA, or the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, was founded in 1866. The ASPCA is an organization that has come together with the goal of helping animals who are in less than desirable situations. On May 26, 2010, the ASPCA found out the horrifying fact that these puppy mills are knowingly allowed to breed these animals in the terrible and cruel conditions without any repercussions whatsoever. The Courier Post did an article in 2006. There was a story that emerged of a cat that would later be named Miracle, and for very good reasoning. This cat had been stuck under a car, and the car had then been driven onto the freeway. After the operators of the car realized the cat was under there, they brought the cat to a shelter so that Miracle could then be put up for adoption. Soon, over 300 people applied to adopt Miracle. The shelter then sent out a notice to those who were not chosen to adopt Miracle, urging them to adopt a different animal, saying that there are countless other animals like Miracle who desperately need a good home. Miracle became a celebrity and then became very lucky and got adopted. Many animals never end up getting that lucky and end up being euthanized when nobody chooses them. America isn't the only place dealing with this huge problem. In Australia, they're dealing with the same thing. The AAP, a news network in Sydney, Australia, did a piece explaining about how bad these dog situations really are. Some puppy mills can have up to 1,000 dogs they are breeding at a time. Just because the puppies in the stores look to be happy and healthy does not mean that that is the case for the mother, who might be starved and in unhealthy conditions. Her whole life, she has been used as a tool for money, with no remorse for those who are using her and all the other dogs being bred. Jonna Cole, who is a part of the family that founded the store Coles, once visited a puppy mill. She, being a Jewish person, made this comparison, and I quote, "These conditions these animals are being kept in are comparable to that of the Holocaust." She said that as a society, we are allowing the owners of these puppy mills to cruelly abuse these animals, and we are doing nothing about it to help these animals' situation whatsoever. In 1995, a writer for the Washington Post did a piece on this issue. After much research, he found some very saddening statistics. In 1995, more than 12 million cats and dogs got euthanized per year, most of them being under the age of 18 months old, meaning they probably would have been a great fit for you or your family. A study done by the ASPCA luckily showed that those numbers have dropped a staggering amount to around 1.5 million cats and dogs per year. We have made a lot of progress, but there is still progress to be made. Each of these animals represents 1 million cats or dogs being euthanized. In 1995, there was 12. Ever since then, we have dropped that number down so much until we have gotten to the point where we are at 1.5 million cats and dogs per year. Again, we have made great progress, but there is still a lot to make. Every time we buy an animal, we make a decision. The decision to either adopt from a shelter or the decision to buy from a breeder. When we buy from a breeder, we are not only funding those who are breeding these animals in cruel conditions, but we are also possibly condemning some poor animal in a shelter who desperately wants to be loved to a terrible fate. So next time you go to buy a pet, think about where you're going to get this animal from. Are you giving an animal a second chance at life, or are you giving a cruel man his next paycheck? I'd like to thank the audience for taking the time out of their day once more. I hope you guys learned something and that I maybe changed your mind on this topic. For those of you watching on YouTube, I hope that you learned something and that I hopefully changed your mind on this topic. And I hope all of you have a wonderful Thanksgiving.